Back? Everybody good? And we had a young lady back. Making sure we can hear. Okay, great, perfect. All right, well, thank you for coming. My name is Ian Pedersen. I'm a medical researcher here in the Valley. I've lived here since 1984. I work nationally, basically developing and working with medical state licensed facilities. I work with the Arizona Department of Health Services. And basically just a little bit about my background. Working in state licensed medical marijuana cultivations and dispensaries for the last 4 years here in the state. About 15 years experience with the plant and research, and really just to kind of give you a background. Hello, thank you for coming. Just give you guys a little bit of background on myself and kind of where we're coming from and kind of how we got here today. After doing multiple years of research on CBD under medical guidance, of course, this is the only way that you can do credible research, really, is doing that under a state licensed medical marijuana dispensary. So that's really where we developed the R&D to be able to work with CBD, and that's really where we've seen a lot of efficacy and a lot of case studies. So really myself, spanning back, I guess, about 4 years ago, started working with the Arizona Department of Health Services and case studies specifically on the effects of non-cannabis related, as far as non-THC related CBD. And of course, there are many benefits of the plant, but we're really here to talk about the non-psychoactive benefits of the plant. I'm sure you folks have read a little bit about CBD. Maybe you're new to it. Maybe you've heard a little bit more about it. There's been some really great specials. Dr. Sanjay Gupta has held a MSNBC special. They've had 3 to date, which, hello? No, thank you for joining us. Yeah. We're just starting as well. So.
I have a quick question.
Please. Oh, yes, great.
So you were saying that the only sanctioned research is from the CBD that comes from medical marijuana. You can get it from hemp, right?
Sure. Yeah, we're really going to kind of come to that. I just really wanted to kind of give you a background on how the research was conducted. Credibly and under state license, because what really happens is, without the ability to do the credible research, and that's what we're seeing. If you can't possess the plant, how can you do the research on the plant to see the efficacy? If you can't possess the hemp plant, which is perfectly legal to import. Of course, we've been importing hemp since 1999 from Germany, Japan, and many different countries. You see hemp seed milk, different products like that, hemp seed fiber, of course. But kind of dating back to the research where people were able to do the efficacy in the studies was done under medical guidance, or else it would just be completely illegal to be working with any children or any adults for that matter under these case studies. So in that case, just give you a little bit of background of kind of where I come from and where the research really comes from, and how that spans and kind of moves forward today for hemp research. So the beauty with hemp right now is obviously it's FDA regulated and registered food item with the FDA. Other countries like Germany have just been way ahead of America. The research they've been doing for about 20 years, as well as in Israel, on the benefits of CBD. And in Israel in particular, in most particular, is a very religious country, and the religious sect of the population cannot consume any drugs, which they cannot do many things, based on their religion. And to follow that and looking at that, they've had the ability, due to a very credible researcher, to look at the effects of the non-psychoactive plant. So when we look at the plant, it has psychoactive benefits, but it also has non-psychoactive benefits, which is just really amazing. So just to get started on the benefits and really what CBD kind of encompasses is let's talk a little bit about how it affects us. So CBD, first of all, to give you the definition, is cannabidiol. It's one of the extracted cannabinoids in the cannabis plant. There's about 60 identified cannabinoids in the plant. There's hundreds of unknown identified cannabinoids in the plant. So at that point, medical research has been able to isolate, of course, they've been able to isolate the THC that we've heard about, but in this case, the CBD, the CBG, which is cannabidiol, the CBN, THCV. So when we look at these different types of isolates that are being able to extract from the plant, then we start to look at the benefits, because of course we have to isolate it, then we can look at the benefits, do studies and testing. And so that's kind of, again, what really draws us today. So let's just talk right away about the medical benefits of CBD and how it affects us. So,
I just get
oh yes, please, yes.
I already asked him, but
Just want to ask if the product is organic.
Oh, yes, actually, and we'll kind of get to the product a little bit later, that it obviously encompasses the discussion, but really the awareness we're trying to just get for CBD in general. The product is organic, organic hemp is imported into the States and then extracted and infused with organic coconut oil. So what I'm gonna go to is, I think just to kind of keep it flowing here, I'm gonna go ahead and just take questions at the end, but if you guys have anything that I'm covering that you really feel like you need to jump in on, that maybe you can't wait till the end, please do. But I think I'm going to go ahead and just try to get through it here to give everybody a kind of a brief idea of it. And then, of course, we're going to do a whole round of questions. That's going to be more of the discussion part of it. So,
I just wanted to get a clarification because
yes, please.
we're jumping back and forth between hemp and marijuana.
Sure.
From hemp, you can't get any THC.
You
right?
cannot, yeah.
That's where you get your zero THC.
Yes,
CBD,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's really what the amazing part of it is. So after the research that they've been able to do in Germany, is they were able to isolate and basically hybridize a strain, which is a non-GMO. It's a hybridizing means basically like inbreeding a certain strain or a certain genus of the plant to optimize its profile. So in this case, what they've done is they really optimized the CBD and been able to take a plant that was maybe exhibiting 0.34% CBD and raise it up to 20-25% CBD. Whereas the plant normally may have contained 7% or 3% THC through basically altering genetically, through the hybridization of it, to basically lower the genetic profile to where it would produce industrial grade hemp at less than 0.30%, which makes it a viable imported crop for the United States, which makes it a consumable, viable product as per the FDA and so on and so forth. And so that really kind of gives us the foundation, the availability to experience the plant. So the benefits of the plant, I'm really excited about. I'd really talk about a couple of case studies that we've had. Passed around an informational, talking about a little girl that we worked with and her mother. Just multiple seizures, serious developmental challenges. She has many other challenges, but one of those is epilepsy. She was plagued with since she was born. And she's 3 years old now, and we've been working with her for the last year. And it's really, I guess, just brightened my life to be able to say that she's taken those seizures down to 12, down to 1 to 2, the severity from a 9 to a 10, uncontrollable violent reactions, to a 1 to 2, to where if you didn't know the child, you would almost not notice that the motor actions were seizures. So another little boy that we had an opportunity to work with, his name's Trevor, he's a 9-year-old boy, 78 pounds, Tourette's. Just developed the worst case of Tourette's. And if you're a little boy, you're going to school and you have a difference, you can just imagine how the kids treat you. There's a term as cool as school children, and not only the physical effects, but then the emotional effects. You have a little boy 9 years old, she'd be happy, she'd be playing, she'd have no issues, and he's depressed. So fortunately, through one of the mothers we've been working with, we were able to link up with his mother, and we were able to go from Tourette's that were on his case, a 9 to a 10, uncontrollable motor skills throughout the day. They had kind of classes back to where he cannot function, to a minor twitch within every 5 minutes. I'm just completely, you see a complete change, not just a little bit or a lot, but a complete change. So that's been something that's just really been amazing. So to talk about the neuropathic effects and how this really comes to pass in a human body or in a human brain, we have to look at our neural pathways. Think about the synapses, the way that our brain transmits signals. We have synapses that fire in our brain all the time, and they fire and they make our hands move, our feet move, eyes move, all that. Well, in some cases we have uncontrollable synapses that can cause fear, anxiety. They can obviously cause motor skill loss, epilepsy. We have neuropathic issues due to degenerating neural pathways with the mind. So for instance, as we get older, we have degenerating neural pathways. Those synapses have to travel across a different path to get to the path that it's trying to go to. Your picture, your brain is a grid like Phoenix. If you ever drive to Phoenix, it's a grid. If you take one street down south, you can take it almost all the way south. You take one street from east to west. Well, if you picture a brain synapse and a neural pathway that's trying to be transmitted, it has to exit and get off the freeway and has to go down the street and then it has to get back on. And that's where you see, for instance, degenerative neural pathways and issues with people, let's say, experiencing Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. So, for instance, as you'll see in your information, we're going to go down just a couple of different causes today, and issues that we've been able to actually actually work with and really affect seriously the CBD. So fibromyalgia, arthritis, serious neuropathic conditions related to Parkinson's disease. Michael J. Fox has been one of the largest proponents. Michael J. Fox Foundation, after discovering Parkinson's, has made a huge impact in his life. So when we look at neuropathic issues and we kind of relate them all together, we can kind of put them into a similar cup. You know, where if you have anxiety, if you have post-traumatic stress disorder, we've been able to see this really play a huge effect in people's lives. We have a gentleman that's claustrophobic, and I recommend, hey, if you try this product, it can really calm those neural pathways and calm those synapses that are firing. It can, in some cases, cause uncontrollable fear or pain. So, anyways, moving forward, there are so many really benefits about the product, about CBD itself, that we're just finding, and that's through credible medical research that they're just allowing. So when it comes down to it, we're really looking to isolate and further isolate the benefits, but at this point, we've isolated about 10 of these conditions that just really works with just overall. So at this point, I'd like to talk just a little bit about how CBD functions in the body. So we all have an endocannabinoid system. An endocannabinoid system is what we would call the governor of our central nervous system. So we have a central nervous system that we believe controls all of our motor skills and functions. There is something called the endocannabinoid system that governs that. That actually, if you were to look at the body as a motor, there's a regulating governor that actually controls that motor. And so when we look at issues and disparities, for instance, we have somebody that's going on anti-seizure medication, they're trying to control it at a neuropathic level with the neural system. They're not really trying to attack it from the governor level. And so I think that's where we're finding a disparity, where we can have a child that's on an anti-seizure medication, serious amount of anti-seizure medication, and it's not affecting them very well. It's making them lethargic, but they're still having seizures. It's not controlling the actual root cause. For instance, I have shingles, so this is something that relates to me personally. So I've had shingles since 2006. It's blessed me to have a medical marijuana card and to do this research. I came over my L2 nerve path, it controls my lower extremities. First time I got it, I was at work for 2 weeks as a chef many years ago, and it's just, it was something that I could not even get out of bed. So I was given 90 Percocet right when I walked in. They said, here, oh, you got shingles, you got any of these, and so I could see very quickly how much of a slippery slope that would be, So, and you're trying to control the pain, you're not trying to control the neuropathy. So they try to give you other drugs, like lyric, new drugs that come out that they just give for samples. And so at this point, it's kind of strange, the way that the pharmaceutical system works. But I'm not here to poke at the pharmaceutical system, because I have to say that modern medicine has bridged many major modern gaps, as well as for the little child that we work with. They were able to graft the skull cap onto her brain. The little child actually that we were sending around the information on was born with encephalopathy. She was born without a skull cap and without part of her brain. She was going to pass away. My wife here today was the photographer that was meant to basically photograph her when she was to pass away after birth. Through miracles of modern science, they were able to grab the skull cap. And we're able to kind of shore that up, with the evidence and do some things, to kind of help naturally. So again, CBD has been able to bring a lot of people quite a few amazing benefits. I've had firsthand knowledge over many years. After developing this product last year, launching it into medical marijuana dispensaries and state licensed facilities, and then of course into the traditional market here, we realized that we had something here that was just really affecting people on a major level. So the endocannabinoid system, how it relates to you, basically the CBD receptors that we have in our body and our brain take in these messages that calm the neural pathways. So if we look at ourselves and how we relate to CBD, mother's milk provides CBD to babies when they're born. The endocannabinoid system will provide that. So we start to look at a disparity that maybe we're having in either age or even through helping regular diet. Because we can all admit our diets probably aren't the greatest, or as they should be, because even the most health-conscious professional out there is still making decisions that are the best. So when it comes down to it, CBD has just been really amazing. And as far as the endocannabinoid system and the CBD receptors, we really have to look at how it affects our body and how it translates to calming the nerve pathways. So we're able to give ourselves something that our body needs and that we're not getting, which is simple vitamins, minerals, many different things. And I think that's where we're kind of seeing the disparity in our bodies. And with this, we've been seeing, and of course you can see these studies that we've related here. We put together links for you guys. Anti-tumoral, that's something else we like to talk about. Not just the neuropathic, not just anxiety, but anti-tumoral. So when we talk about tumors, obviously many different things in our diet are going to help to procreate those. And we have degenerative cell tissues. And so what CBD does and what it's been proven to do, and of course you can look up this study, was on the CBD, the cancer.gov site, pardon me. And this basically the National Institute of Health's record. It's probably the most credible standard site for medical health professionals. And here you go to the cancer.gov site. You'll see there was a study done with mice. In the pancreas of the mice, there was, I believe, a 70% tumor reduction in over 60% of the control. So when we're looking at that and we look at traditional therapies that are out there, like radiation and shrinking tumors and fighting tumors, you're looking at success rates of about 3%. So, you know, and of course, I mean, I had a grandmother that's passed away from cancer. I know this is a very touchy subject, but when you really look at the success rates of traditional cancer treatments at 3%, I don't know if anybody can convey me 3% is a success. And if anybody had 3% or even 10%, up to 10% success in anything they were doing, if they would continue to do it. But in this case, we've seen the anti-tumoral growth. It's been amazing for fighting tumors. And there's a couple studies that you can see, not just in the cancer.gov site, but if you're typing CBD and anti-tumoral effects, you'll find a wealth of studies that relate to that. So whether or not the tumors are cancerous, we're incredibly prone as humans to have tumors. And in that, it seems like CBD has just been really an amazing benefit in fighting those. So what I'd like to go ahead and do is just open up a round of questions for everybody. Just to talk a little bit more. I just really want to kind of give you guys an idea about it. And okay, I'm going to start with you.
I noticed that.
And then you, sir, yeah.
I noticed that on your flyer that you have a 200 milligram and a 500 milligram and a 1,000 milligram.
Yes, ma'am.
So the question is, I understand that the 200 milligram would be for certain things and the 500 milligram would be for certain things. But if you doubled up, for example, if you doubled up to 200 milligrams, which would give you 400 milligrams.
Correct.
Would that be like almost close to the 500 milligrams?
Sure. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about dosing today. Typical dosing that you're going to see out there in the industry is about 200 milligram, 500 milligram, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. So when you said the 200 milligram, the introductory dose is introductory health and wellness. It's going to speak to some anxiety, it's going to speak to fibromyalgia, it's going to speak to arthritis, it's going to speak to some of the nerve pain that you're having from the inflammation. That's really what it comes down to.
Independent of the method of ingestion, whether it's a pill or whether it's oil or whatever, that's the.
Well, yeah, and you have to be working with a certain grade, of course. I mean, you know, we really have to kind of talk about a little bit more about CBD, I guess, and the qualities of it, because there's a lot of CBD on the market, and well, you know, you could be getting it from China, that's being grown at the base of the Shaoxing province, that is grown as well, where they at the base of their coal mining industry. So you can think about all the metals and water that run down the mountain and into the crops and water the crops, and then when you concentrate that, you're bringing up the concentrated levels of anything that's in anything you're concentrating. So in that, you really want to be careful. So for instance, if you're, let's say you're using a hemp crop that was grown without organic means, or was grown with pesticides, and it was concentrated, those parts per million or parts per billion of pesticides are going to be concentrated in the oil. And that's where you really start to see some issues. So again, 200, 500, 1,000, 200 introductory health and wellness.
Well, are they really all the same except one's a
Dose,
lower?
yeah, dosing is higher. So if we get into the 500 milligram, it's more therapeutic. It's going to really speak to the fibromyalgia. I mean, it's really going to speak to pain, fibromyalgia, arthritis. The 1,000 milligrams is where we have serious neuropathic issues. Although we have seen the 200 and 500 speaking to epilepsy, we've had testimonials, people come in that it actually has worked for them. You know, the 1,000 milligrams is what really works for people. That's where we start somebody that has Parkinson's, epilepsy, cerebral palsy, a serious neuropathic issue. Okay, I'm sorry, the gentleman back here.
Yes, I got a mailing on from a company that's marketing the oil and a topical cream.
Yeah.
they're saying that the oil works from the inside out and the cream works from the outside in.
Yep, and it has also worked, well, we've seen the topical CBD working for melanoma as well, and skin conditions, psoriasis, things like that. It seems like, with the coconut, well, for us, we have a product with coconut oil that helps to penetrate the skin and that carries the oil. But yes, there's been credible research that has shown to use it topically, as well as to ingest it for skin conditions. So. Okay, and, yes?
Can you address the differences between medical marijuana?
Yes, definitely. So, medical marijuana, have to have a state, have to have a card to get it. They have to have a serious condition to go in and get it. You have to pay a certain amount per year. It's expensive, and it's something that people have chosen to use. Now, this product is completely non-psychoactive. This product has no THC in it above 0.24%, meaning the industrial rated hemp that you can bring into the country has to test at 0.30% for it to be in a dry shopping center or any supermarket. And ours tests at 0.24% or less, meaning it has non-detectable levels of THC. And that is
So 0.3 naturally, so hemp is not naturally zero.
Oh, yes, yeah, actually, hemp, in some cases, depending on which hemp strain you can be growing, may have 10, 0, 1, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, 3, 0. Some people coming out with hemp crops right now.
103 is typical. And you guys are
It must be, yeah, it must be 0.030 or less. It must be, or it is not legal. If anybody tries to bring you a hemp product that tests, and this is the difference, and it should basically give you an understanding of a credible product. If they can show you scientific credible testing from a third party analysis, from a lab that is recognized, that can say, this does not have THC in it. That's what you need. Because otherwise, you could be purchasing a product that somebody is selling online from California or Colorado, and it could have negligible levels of THC that could come up in a drug test or could come up at work or an issue like that. So the differences between medical marijuana and hemp is hemp has negligible levels of THC that are non-detectable and that will not cause a drug test. For instance, we have pain management physicians that are actually on the product, which is quite interesting. Because we have people that are in pain management, that are on permanent pain management for, let's say, having a disc removed in their back, and they're going to be on pain management for the rest of their life. Well, we've had them lower their prescription dosage from 2/3, more than 2/3 over the last 3 months in a particular case. So when you look at those types of cases where you're on a heavy pharmaceutical and you're able to really get off it, that's one thing that we're seeing. But as far as the difference between CBD and THC is CBD is a industrial grade related product that is registered by the FDA. But again, I would want to see any credible study on that or test results to make sure that it's actually tested.
It's a warranted need at times for the THC.
Well, there can be. I mean, for instance, we do have a good friend of the mother that we work with, that her child does respond to the THC, the low THC binding, but does respond to low THC CBD. But in 90% of the cases that we see, and I'm not to say this coming to the medical marijuana community, medical marijuana is not, I repeat, is not for everybody. We have a lot of people that come in, they want to try medical marijuana in the community, and it's just too strong. It's not like it was before. So this is the product that you can have when you will not be psychoactively truly activated. And I had this one gentleman, and then, sir?
What's the regular content of THC in marijuana?
Oh gosh, well, Mexican marijuana from across the border, about 3%. The standard stuff that's used across the border is about 3% in the dispensaries. It ranges from about 15 to 16% in the dispensaries, up to 20%, which is incredibly strong.
And when you say 0.03, is that 3%?
Oh no, it's 0.03. Yeah, it's less than 1/3 of a percentile, which is non-detectable in it. Let's say, for instance,
What's an order of magnitude higher,
Oh.
even the weakest THC marijuana that you provide?
Yes, it is. Yes. So again, that's really why we developed a product that was just completely non-psychotropic, non-psychoactive. Yes, sir.
Is there any evidence that this has worked on Pitt Hopkins?
I'm sorry?
Pitt Hopkins, any evidence that this has worked on Pitt Hopkins?
No, I have not. I cannot say personally that we have seen a study done on that. But what I can do is encourage you, because there are new studies coming out every day, is to go home, type in online, CBD and etc. And literally, you will find a lot of information, I'm almost guaranteed. If it's a neuropathic issue, you're gonna see something like that, so.
They're all looking at the academic papers, I imagine, right?
And unfortunately, and that's, yeah, definitely you are, but unfortunately, what I like to say is that there's just, over the last few years, the ability for us to do credible research. So it's somebody like myself, who's on the ground floor doing this research, and able to convey it to the people right now. It's just, that's where the disparity is, unfortunately. You can't go to, yep.
You can find names of hits on newsrooms, but you can't believe those.
Yeah, you can find chat rooms like that. So those studies that I actually put together are credible studies on. Those are the only credible studies that I can point you to for sure. That are, Michael J. Fox Foundation, Cancer.gov, National Institute of Health, Harvard. So it's, that's where we're really seeing. But I can say there was a credible study done by Harvard saying that cannabis destroys brain cells. It is actually been proven to build neuroreceptors after a Harvard study. So, and where we used to think that it was a degenerative effect, it is not. So.
Is that THC?
Well, actually, no, just the plant, ingesting the plant.
Okay, because I thought they revealed decades ago, alcohol destroys the memory cells, but that THC, just marijuana, actually breaks off the keys to the what's that all about?
Well, I mean, it is a stimulant if you look at it. I mean, the entire plant overall is a stimulant. It acts as a depressant for a lot of people. It is a stimulant. So you see it stimulating neuroreceptors, and you see it stimulating those different properties in the body and in the mind. That's really what I think it is. But again, CBD and non-psychoactive or hemp-related products, if you find the right CBD, has just had a major effect overall on so many different people overall. Okay, yes, sir.
I listened to a program in 1993. University of Washington, they said it completed a study, a 20-year study, over 3,000 people. Bottom line was they found that if a kid, let's say 12 years old, started using just 2 joints a week, his maturity level never increased.
And that is true.
By
They have done studies.
65 years old with a 12-year-old.
Yeah, in the growing mind, you're exactly right. There have been studies that have shown, as the developing brain has grown and has been growing, you can't stunt that. And that is by far, and that is why I say THC is not for everybody. Medical marijuana is not for everybody. So when it comes down to it, let's talk about, in the United States, we've got a lot of people in the medical marijuana community that are experiencing effects. You're looking at probably 5% of the actual community of people that are really looking to take benefit of it. A lot of people that want to go in there, they want to get healed. They don't want to get high. That's not necessarily but when you go into the dispensary, because I've been working and facilitating those business plans and working in consulting and research for that, that's often what you'll find. So in this case, that's really where we want to offer something to people that just, children, something that children can take and something that you can take and you can take and function. It's not going to affect you in any way. There's no related effects. If you take the medication, there's no related effects. If you take the alcohol, there's no related effects. It's something that doesn't have side effects. It has no known true side effects, really. Of course, THC and these other things will. CBD, that's one of the main benefits of it. So hemp-related products and CBD, again, is having the benefit of not being psychoactive is going to really be a game changer for so many different people. It's going to give the availability for people and younger people to really experience the product. This gentleman, and then, yes, sir.
Wait, you haven't answered her question.
Oh, no, I apologize. Sorry. Sorry.
Thank you.
No, I apologize. I'm sorry.
Thank you. I have 2 questions. One is all these are on cannabis and medical marijuana, not on hemp.
These are actually, if you're actually to look here on these studies right here.
It says medical marijuana.
Sure, and because they were done, and it's because the studies were done under medical marijuana. They had.
But these studies are about hemp?
They are, they're about CBD.
Yeah.
The CBD isolate in medical marijuana. Does that make sense? So
Okay.
so for me to do a credible study, I have to do it under medical marijuana. But so for instance, the title would be medical marijuana related study, probably. But we would isolate the CBD in that study, and then that's the study benefits. That's That's the information, correct. Yeah, so it's those studies in particular are CBD related only, they're not medical marijuana related studies. Yeah, it's
So
just,
my
yeah.
second part of the question is, medically, I'd really like to know physiology, I'm very well aware of marijuana, the CBD oil, in the marijuana. That's what is the difference in your body? Why would I want to take this?
As opposed to medical marijuana?
Yeah, no, the CBD oil.
Okay.
Of medical marijuana and not, marijuana and not, get high. And I mean, if someone's looking at me, marijuana, so I'd like to know, why is your product from hemp better, worse, the same? What is the effect on the body?
How does it compare to a medical marijuana CBD product, like that you purchase in the medical marijuana?
Yeah, the oil.
Oh, sure, yeah, this is great. So if you're to purchase CBD at the medical marijuana dispensary, you can go and purchase about a 60 to 70% concentrated, meaning it's about 60 to 70%, no, about 63%, I think, pure concentrated CBD. However,
This is 26.
26%, that's correct, yeah. However, that 63% CBD product is going to have about 7% THC in it. And just for the fact that any medical marijuana strain, for instance, the best medical marijuana strain that you can get that is a high CBD strain, which we're currently doing research with, is a 20-to-1. It's a ratio. We work with ratio strains. So it's a CBD to THC. So 20 part CBD to 1 part THC. So in that case, if we're to take that strain and we're to concentrate it, that 20 parts will be multiplied by about 3 times, as would the 1 part. So that 20% maybe go up to about 60%. Well, that 1.5 or 2% is going to go up to around 3, 4, 5, 6, 7% THC. And it will make it, first of all, enable the transfer across state lines, or it's federally legal. Means it can only be developed in the current market in the state, which means that people have to fly from one state to another to get it. And it means it's going to have THC in it. If that's actually you or your child adversely, which, again, I'm a medical marijuana user. I use it. I'm an advocate of it, but I realize that not everybody can benefit from it, and that's just very, very plain and simple. For that reason, I just don't think it's for everybody. It's incredibly strong, and unless you've been using it for years, unless you have a need for it, and there's so many different issues, but
So
it's really not what we're trying to.
that's the only
Yeah. And so ours, for instance, started at about 0.10% THC to about 7% or 8% CBD. Then it was concentrated down and then came up to those levels that we're seeing of 26%. But again, with the negligible levels of THC. So I think people are really working on trying to get these higher levels of CBD that you can find in a medical marijuana environment. They're going to be much more expensive and of course going to have THC related products. But at this point, this is, I can tell you hands down, this is the strongest CBD product in the nation right now. Charlotte's Web, which if you've heard of CW Botanicals or Charlotte's Web, which was the first product to be developed, tested 18%, and as well as all other CBD products, just for the fact that they cannot get a higher grade CBD. Yes, sir. And then in the back, yes. I apologize, ma'am. I'm so sorry.
When would you use the sap versus ingesting it internally?
Okay, well, depending on the condition, let's say you had a skin issue or for healing and you wanted to use the sap topically. Again, melanoma, psoriasis. There's actually been a study where melanoma in 2 weeks the CBD oil was able to be shrunken down. And we've seen just some studies personally with some elderly ladies that we've worked with that have actually been able to work with skin conditions. Now, as far as the tincture, that would be something you want to take orally for internal issues, fibromyalgia, arthritis, nerve pain. We've also, and I really just have to say, across the board, CBD has been a huge sleep aid. I mean, it has just been a natural sleep aid. That's something that we're getting across the board.
It's a natural what?
Sleep aid. I mean, just across the board, whether people try for epilepsy, fibromyalgia, arthritis, anxiety, what we're hearing is I haven't slept ever. And I mean, it's just one of those things that it's just been, that's been a hands down kind of synonymous thing. Oh, and I have a lady in the back I'd love to take real quick. Ann? She's been waiting a long time. Yes.
Okay, I'm just how do you find out the amount, the dose that you're supposed to take for each particular person according to the age, weight,
Sure.
size, whatever.
Sure, so in our case studies, we'll work with the parent, we'll work with the child, we'll work with a particular person, and we'll talk to them about their condition, and then from that point, we'll isolate. That's why we've just been trying to get a general idea of where we go from 200 milligrams to 500 milligrams to 1,000. But really, you know, for us, it's been a personal case-by-case basis to really get an understanding of how this really affects people.
So, but if we wanted to buy it at the store, for instance, how
Yes.
would we know what to do?
So
if we got
again,
home?
we can give you the information right now. The 200 milligram, the introductory health and wellness, it's going to speak to fibromyalgia, it's going to speak to some nerve-related problems, you know, pain. But the 500 milligram is really where you start to see therapeutic issues really being attacked. And of course, we have people that are using it for epilepsy right now. But again, then the 1,000 milligram for serious neuropathic issues, serious neuropathic issues.
So that's like one time a day, or?
Well, again, the dose is actually on the bottle. We have a suggested use, and what's great about the way the suggested use works is the suggested use is gauged for the dose. So if you're to take a certain dose related to your pain issue, whether it's a minor, major, or serious, from that point, you can look at the dosing and it's regulated for your condition. That's kind of the way we develop it. So you don't have to say, well, how much do I take one or a half or whatever? If you want to just try introductory health and wellness, then you go with the 200, and then you're going to try it for the minimum half, once a day, 1 half dropper, once, twice a day, and then you can step it up to the 1 dropper twice a day. And that's on the same bottle for 1,000 and 2,000, which basically is it's going to speak to your condition. If you have, you want to take a smaller dose for a condition that's not too severe, then you just take a lighter 200, and then of course stepping up to 500. And
That's a patient.
there you go. Yeah, we would definitely. But we're really trying to do the education. Okay, I did have somebody in the back, sir. I apologize. Yes.
What are the indications for someone who is post-stroke?
Okay, so there you go. So if we have stroke, a lot of times what's going to happen is it's going to damage some of our neural pathways. It's going to damage some of our cells in our brain. Because we're going to lose oxygen to our brain. This is what historically happens in a stroke. So when we talk about generating or rebuilding the neural pathways, that's where we see it really speaking to people that have had those issues and have had a stroke and they've lost some part, basically part of function in their brain and trying to stimulate it again. And we see this with Alzheimer's as well. Specifically, you can look up Alzheimer's where it's actually stimulated the neural pathways and been able to sustain the availability for longer brain function. Okay.
Does it assist with the reconnection?
Well,
Like in a
it
different
does.
way?
It actually builds the neural pathway, helps to stimulate it as a stimulant. It helps to stimulate the growth of these neural pathways. It also does many other stimulating functions in your body. Stimulates capillaries in your lungs. It's so many different things that it's doing on a stimulant level. Sir, I take this gentleman and then you next.
What is one thing?
Number one.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yes.
Number one, doctors have write prescriptions for this. Number two, the insurance cover the cost. Number three, is it a blood thinner?
Is it a blood thinner? Okay. All right. So, is it covered, and is it something that's covered under any medical function, any traditional medical systems? No, it is not. It's not something that's not prescribed. Even if you get a medical marijuana card, it's a recommendation. They will not prescribe it. Few doctors have the availability to actually schedule and prescribe a schedule if they want. Okay. And the last question, I'm sorry.
Is it a blood thinner?
Is it a blood thinner? As a matter of fact, we haven't seen it working as a blood thinner. However, we've seen it working as an anti-inflammatory overall. Powerful anti-inflammatory, which speaks to your arthritis, fibromyalgia. I think that word should be mentioned, anti-inflammatory, because that's the root cause of so much pain. That's the root cause of so many issues. Speaks to Crohn's. Again, we have a specific case study showing with Crohn's, serious intestinal issues. How many nerve paths do you think you have in your intestines? Thousands of nerve paths in your intestines. And so what it does is it can calm those neural pathways in people that have Crohn's and serious issues with their digestive tracts to be able to, almost immediately calm their stomachs to where they can process food. So, okay, in the back, sir?
Can you take too much or overdose on it?
Oh, right. So, yeah, it's non-toxic. That's a really great question. It's completely non-toxic. You cannot overdose on it. Literally, a child can get a bottle and drink the whole bottle, and there will be no effects other than the related calming anxiety, neuropathic. I'll say my children take my children take the product, it helps to calm them. We have a child that has Asperger's as well that I adopted, and that seems to really help him. He has trouble sleeping every night, and so, I mean, just, you know, I'm a high test person, I was just always very anxious, and it definitely translated to my children, and so they're incredibly anxious as well, and so it really does work for them. You know, they take, we both have a honey product and a tincture. One likes the honey a little more than the tincture, so that's how we do it. I think you had a question I was holding on. Yeah, I was holding on him. I mean, and you, yes, no, let me take you, please.
So, I'm gonna go see my doctor tomorrow,
Yes.
actually, and I've got all the marijuana stuff filled out, thinking that maybe I want that flexibility, but
Sure.
I cannot handle THC, I have PTSD, and it just makes it.
It's going to exacerbate the anxiety.
Now, they tell me at the store, I can buy anything, if I went and talk to them, and they said that they do have CBD with THC, and they also have CBD with various percentages of THC, which I really don't wanna mess around with, I don't have to. Now, do I need to even bother to spend the money to get the?
Well, I'll tell you right now, I mean, I can't speak to that, I mean, completely, but I can't speak to
The second
what.
part of the question is, though, even if I don't have her fill out a marijuana card for me, should I work with my MD to talk about this and let her know that I'm taking?
I think
this?
that's right, yeah, but we've encouraged every person that's taken the product to share this with their physician, their consultant physician. Anytime you implement anything into your diet, of course, if you're not familiar about it, you should go to the physician. I mean, it's something that you think. And of course, we've gotten really great feedback from the neuropath board, and multiple physicians that actually use the product or on the product or have seen the effects or they're excited about it because they can't use it, they can't recommend it, they can't use it in their day-to-day life. And so we've seen a lot of excitement from the medical community about it. So the product, for instance, ours is one of the ancillary products that's carried actually at the state licensed dispensary. It's strong enough to work for people that go there for those conditions, but it's also carried at a regular store. So if you're not looking for anything that's going to get you psychoactively cerebrally activated, you're probably all right.
So it's not unheard of then that you might treat it as like a daily vitamin where you might determine yourself what the dose is.
Indeed, yeah.
Have a little bit of feedback.
For
from the
sure.
doctor,
Yeah,
right?
because everybody has an experience different with a product. I mean, we've had people that take, one man, we've had different people that take multiple different products and it's going to work with them in different ways.
Instead of trial and error.
Yeah, so you want to start at the low dosage, which we always recommend, and then moving up. But, you know, we have people that have had medical marijuana cards. For instance, the mother of the daughter, they had to get a medical marijuana card as a caregiver for her daughter to be able to go in, just to purchase the medical marijuana for her daughter, $500 a year, plus the doctor visits and all this stuff. And those products were not working as well as the products she was looking for to just help her daughter not get it.
And if I buy your product, the benefit is that I know I'm not gonna get any more than 0.03 THC.
And we've done the studies, we've done the research, we've done the third-party testing, we've done the case studies, we've worked with Arizona Department of Health Services, we've done everything we can. I mean, you know, I'm one of the main guys on the West Coast or in the United States that is doing this. We're probably one of 5 people that are handling a nationally viable company or working to try to get these products
So
nationally.
you've got essentially the cleanest CBD there is.
I would say our product is 100% organic. Our product is without question, the cleanest product on the market, and our product without question is strong. And that's
Perfectly legal in here, and then
perfectly.
you can.
We can fly with it. It's been imported into Japan. We have it's being imported in Japan, Canada, Europe at the time. So I mean, it's one of those products that you can fly with it. There's no issue whatsoever. And we also provide test results. Anytime somebody purchases the product, we give you a copy of the third-party test results from Southern California Lab, which is one of the most credible testing companies in the United States. And so that really gives you the availability to be sure about the product. And I had a young lady back here. I have to take her, and then moving up to you. Yes.
Can you pass a drug test?
Yes, you can. Yeah, we've had pain management physicians. Of course, we have, you know, if you're on pain management and you're taking Percocet or you're on pain management, you have to submit to a drug test regularly. And they want to make sure that you're taking your meds, you're not selling them, or that you have the right amount in your body. I mean, this is just checks and balances in the system, you can see. You know, and obviously because the system's gone off the rails with opiates, as we've seen. With that, oh my God, I just lost track. Yes, you can pass a drug test. Physicians recommending it. We've got actually a few physicians in the area, NMDs, chiropractors, that are recommending the product and you've been using the product. So, yeah.
Okay.
1 second left. Yes.
If a person has a condition where they need immune support,
Yes.
and immune support, not necessarily as you take this pill and you're gonna get better in a day. It's something that builds up.
It is, yes, if something becomes bioavailable over a period
So,
of time. yeah.
right, so, immune support as well as other things, how long would a person be on the CBD?
As far as-
Before you notice the difference?
before you notice, before you see
Yeah.
any change? We've seen changes within 30 minutes to 45 minutes to about a week, where somebody had taken it,
Well, it's not gonna help the immune support, you may feel better, but is it actually gonna solve the problem of the low immune system?
No.
well, no, I can't see it speaking directly, because the immunity probably has to do with the disparity in your diet, chances are, or maybe possibly an age factor, but I mean, when it comes down to it, honestly, we haven't seen it work for immune function, but we have seen it to support cell growth and cell function. And cell function, I think, really speaks to immunity, right?
Yes.
And when you look at, obviously healthy cells and how they operate in our bodies. So I think it can definitely play a factor, but I can't say that we've done a study on that specifically. So, I would encourage you, as we do anybody that has a question, to go ahead and look up that immunity and say, is there an issue that helps to stimulate, white blood cells, or, we can see something like that, where it helps the immune system.
I think the question was, does it actually heal, and then you would take it, I think the answer is
Well,
no.
yeah, we're really looking at having an endocannabinoid system and needing to supply it with cannabinoids. What I'm understanding, a diet, instead of being reactive, I think proactive is where we're really trying to come from. I think incredibly reactive, we live in an incredibly reactive society. You don't take your car in until it breaks down usually. Most people don't, and that's just the way it is. My father's a transmission specialist, and he loves it because nobody changes their transmission fluid, and they come in and the transmission's blown up. No, so again, being proactive and then looking at some of the disparities we might be getting in our diet, and the foods that we're getting that are not supplying us with the things
But
that
that
we need
doesn't
to
really have
help.
anything to do with the CBD.
Well,
I mean, yes, it helps the
Yeah.
person, of course,
Yeah.
with the immune system, and all
Sure.
that. I know about all that stuff, but I want to know, about the CBD.
Yeah, and it seems like, the CBD can really speak to the tumors, and that's what we have seen. And again, I encourage you to look at the cancer.gov study right on there. That was one of the hugest studies that they did in a control to actually see anti-tumor growth and to see them to fight tumors. So that's something I would.
So, I guess what I'm wondering is the person have to take this product forever? Or for months and months, or years and years?
It's something that I would recommend that everybody take. Yeah, it's like a vitamin. Would you consistently take vitamins, or would you consistently
I'd
take?
like to get off of them, get off all those vitamins.
Right, but I guess the point is, our point is kind of being a little more proactive, because those vitamins, hopefully, although a lot of them go out your digestive tract, hopefully these types of supplements and vitamins help to support these functions, to where you're not having it then.
But not everybody takes vitamins, it would be nice not to take vitamins.
It indeed would be, yeah, it would be nice if we, I'm with you there if we had the supply. If we had the supply, but we're not self-sustaining, unfortunately, and that's the point. So, I'm sorry, I had this young lady in the back, I apologize, she hasn't had a question yet. Thank you.
Thank you. I was just gonna ask how it holds up with exposure to light, or over time, does it degrade over time?
Yeah, so basically the product, it doesn't break down. Once it's infused with coconut oil, and it's just hemp oil and coconut oil that have been infused through a different process. Once it's bonded, it cannot be separated. It's actually interesting. If anybody's ever cooked before, you bring together a butter and oil, it'll come together, but then it'll separate. Your cream, you heat it too much, it separates. So what's really interesting about this product, once it bonds, no matter how high you heat it or how low the temperature gets, it will not separate. And you can keep it outside, inside, you can keep it in your refrigerator. It's made of liquid MCT coconut oil, which is great. So it's not going to coagulate. It's not going to get that consistency from leaving it in the fridge. So it's really amazing. The shelf life, a minimum year, so it's one of those things that doesn't break down. It's incredibly versatile, I would say. Yes, sir.
Yes.
And you two girls afterwards. Yes, thank you.
In my internet research, I ran into a website that offered a 7-day free trial for $9.95 shipping only. Is that going to show anything in 7 days?
Is it going to? Oh, well, if you're asking about the quality of the product.
Well, I'm talking about nerve pain.
Oh, I definitely can't speak to that because I have no idea what product it would be, and I can say for $9.95. I'm not sure. I understand the cost factors in developing and bringing a product to market, or even have just the raw materials cost factors. And so it doesn't seem feasible, unless there's a huge subscription on the end. I mean, I don't know what their business plan, it sounds like it's, you know,
Well, they want to sell more naturally, but they're gonna give you a 7-day free trial.
Right, yeah, I really can't speak to that. Yeah, you do get what you pay for, and I can't speak to that unfortunately. I would just respectfully, you know, so. Any
Can't go
more kind of
wrong.
questions for you, Lee? Okay, thanks, guys. Thank you, it's okay, I'm like, hello, thank you so much.
That's
Thank you. Okay, and we got 2 girls and then you, thank you.
Okay. Concerning the endocannabinoid system.
Yes.
Like the inflammation. So if you're supplying yourself, how does that work? What other foods, what other elements?
Well, cannabinoids actually only feed the endocannabinoid system. That's what we're finding. That's really what supports the endocannabinoid systems, the transference, the growth. So really at that point, supplying yourself with a cannabinoid that affects your body positively for the issues you're having is what we'd be looking at.
So what, primitive peoples or people just?
Well, the plant's been around for thousands of years.
Right.
This plant, I mean, I'll tell you what, coconut oil, few people are allergic to coconut oil, and even fewer people are allergic to hemp. Because, coconut oil, yes. And hemp, the reason being is the hemp genus plant has been on every continent for thousands of years. It has been used in multiple races. For instance, the Congolese people use it as an antibacterial, antifungal. We didn't talk about that today. Antifungal, antibacterial. Serious bacterial and fungal issues you can get in the jungle, and they juice the leaves and they create a tea out of it. Non-psychoactive. They don't get it from the plants that are harvested with the buds. It's from their just hemp-based early flowering plant, and they're able to take this into tea, and it is one of the most powerful antibacterial and antifungal things. You know, you're talking about dengue fever. You're talking about these serious bacterial issues that it's able to fight. So
Canada is not, it's kind of like certain amino acids. Does your body make it naturally, or does it?
Mother's milk, well, no, mothers produce it in mother's milk, and it is produced naturally. Your brain does produce it, but your brain may not be producing enough of it, and that's what we're seeing.
I think that's the bottom line of business, is that this is to supplement,
It's a
if you're
support.
not making enough CBD.
Sure, it's a support function, and it could be where we're having a disparity in issues with cell growth or anxiety. You're having an issue in your body with maybe diet, or with what we're ingesting on a regular basis, you know, or lack thereof. I mean, just again, you know, and from that point, then we're having an issue that we need to tackle with, because, you know, your central nervous system is going haywire in some way. We're having a cellular degenerative issue, or we're having neuropathic issues, or, you know, and that one we're trying to regulate. We're trying to regulate with the governing body that controls it, and that's that endocannabinoid system. And this is really something that's just come out in the last few years, where we thought the central nervous system was the end-all, be-all, everything. It is not. So, there's something that, again, well, controls the timing, we'll say, of your motor. So, yeah, ma'am? And then in the back, yes. Thank you.
Different question. I have a canine that has seizures.
Yes.
So have you,
Yes.
any research on that?
Yes, we've developed a product. We didn't bring it. It's not in the market currently right now. We have developed a product, and you can get it in multiple different places as well as online. That is for dogs. We've been working with horses specifically as well, anti-inflammatory and arthritis. So yes, definitely for. So let's talk about other beings that have an endocannabinoid system. Animals and mammals also have endocannabinoid systems. Dogs, monkeys, horses, and then of course humans, as far as the are concerned. So that's where we're seeing a lot of the benefits. So yes, definitely we've seen epilepsy and dogs that are scared of the thunder, I mean, shake uncontrollably. Give it to the dog and it's completely calming down. So you know, it's just you know, neuropathic signals that are firing uncontrollably. Okay, in the back, yes. Oh, sorry, we said one person in the back.
I'm okay now, you kind of answered.
Okay, thank you. All right, and sorry, she popped up before, and then you're next.
So for migraines,
Yes, that's a great one, yes. Any inflammatory?
would you take this product every day to prevent migraines every day?
So,
or
yeah,
when you're
so-
having a migraine?
Yeah, so if you wouldn't want to wait till you had a seizure to take our product,
Okay.
the product. So proactively, the little girl that takes our product, she takes it every day so that she doesn't have seizures. When she doesn't have the product, for instance, we had an issue with the border, and we're able to get the product to the mother, and she had full-blown seizures all day. So Kathy, this is actually very interesting. I'm sorry, I'm going to freak you. No, I'm sorry. Kathy suffers from, this is so funny, I apologize, yeah.
Okay.
She asked a question about migraines. Kathy suffered from migraines. She was she works over here at Mount Hope, and,
I
yeah.
take it twice a day.
Yeah, and
Every day.
Yeah, I mean,
And
headaches
haven't
every
had
day?
headaches since.
I mean, she had headaches every day, was it just living with headaches?
Well, the doctor actually classified them as cluster migraines, which I don't understand what that is
Yeah.
exactly. But, I would get them every day. And so, same time of day, that's how they knew they were cluster. And so, I take the 500 milligrams, and I take it twice a day.
Yeah, I mean, I go to the store, she's happy, so, yeah. I got this, and then, yes.
What would you recommend for parents who are interested in this, for kids with autism?
I would recommend a parent to speak with me personally, you know, if obviously.
But I need to get your information.
You know, that's great, yeah, definitely, because I mean, when it comes to working with children, that's something that we're just, it's for us, for me, it's been all about the children. You know, obviously, you know, I mean, you know, love you guys, but I just, you know, the kids just, you know, really making an impact there. So anything I can do, to give information, you know, I'm there, my door's open, we've got a showroom and an office, and just over here, we are by appointment only, however. Definitely set an appointment with me, and I'm more than willing to sit down, I'm more than willing to take a call to talk to you guys. Of course, I'm working nationally, we've got the product in multiple different markets across the states.
Do you have a local storage?
Well, it's our offices and kind of what we call it a showroom. We don't really sell product out of there. It's not,
Is it here in Cottonwood?
It is, it's just actually in Las Vegas Plaza.
You said you give me a business card.
Oh, yes, and of course, my door's open. If you guys would like to set a personal meeting, I can definitely, you know, sit down with you guys personally and talk to you about any issue you have in your issue, if you want to do that. Okay, and, young lady, oh, sorry.
I have a quickie.
Yes.
Is the dose related to the size of the human being or the size of the problem?
Condition, yes, it's related to condition, you're right on, yeah, it's related to the size of the problem. So if you have you know, you're just taking the introductory, you'll take the 200 milligram. If you've got a serious issue, you're gonna take that higher dose. And again, we have just a couple related conditions on the brochure here that we can give you, on the website as well. And
How is the product different for like an animal versus a human? Like, because my cat, for example, gets very freaked out. And I was just thinking, well, why can't I just give her a drop?
you can, yeah, they have endocannabinoid system. You just want to treat them, take your body weight and do a calculation. Are they 20 pounds, 5 pounds, and then calculate that down.
Half a drop or something.
A drop or two, yeah, there you go, from 15 drops, yeah, sure. Hold on, let me make sure you're moving. Okay, yes, sir.
Okay.
No, thank you, yes.
What about diabetes?
Yes, oh, gosh.
And neuropathy?
Great, so yeah, so let's talk a little bit about diabetes. We have a case study, one of the dispensary agents that works down in Phoenix at White Mountain Health. Her mother had to go into the hospital for an unrelated incident. Her and her mother both take the products regularly. Mother's blood sugar was, I believe, at around 190 when she went in the hospital, which is actually normal for her. She just really high blood sugar. She's a big lady. So when it comes down to it, she went in the hospital for an unrelated condition. She had to stay there for a week. They wouldn't allow her. They said, hey, you're not allowed to take this product. We're in the hospital. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for coming. I said we're not allowed to take the product while we're in the hospital. Obviously under hospital care. So they gave her insulin.
Oh.
Of course, well, that's what she had been on before. Blood sugar rises to 240 while on insulin. Okay? So, discharged her from the hospital. She's discharged, mind you, with blood sugar 240, which is not. Yeah, not good. So, but I mean, she has issues already. So goes home, gets on the product, and within the day she's down to 190. So when we see it affecting, and hypothyroidism in horses, we're working specifically with horses and Cushing's, which is hypothyroidism in horses. And so we've seen it specifically relate to that as well. So yes, diabetes, hypothyroidism has definitely been something that we've been seeing as well. So that's definitely, and it's not a blood thinner, but the way it works, specifically on controlling really the body, is what we're seeing that really works. So for her, it was one of our first cases that we were able to see. Somebody that actually had that high blood sugar was able to go and document it, and then we were able to come out for extra 55. So that was really kind of good for us to see, for her to go in there and then, for her to do that. So.
Your company.
Yes.
Neuropathy.
Neuropathy. So when we look at neuropathy, and let's talk about pain. Pain is caused from neuropathy. Fall down, you bump your knee, it's going to swell. The neuropathic impulses that you're going to get from the nerves are going to send pain signals to your brain. You're going to feel pain, okay? So with neuropathic impulses, what we're learning to cause with the CBD, and that's what we're seeing. Fibromyalgia, arthritis, and again, the serious neuropathic impulses from like Tourette's or epilepsy, uncontrollable neuropathic impulses.
I think he's talking about maybe peripheral neuropathy from diabetes.
Oh yeah, of course you're definitely experiencing neuropathy from the inflammation from being diabetic. And then of course at night, this is something else that we have, sleeping. Very difficult to sleep, always having to get up and urinate frequently during the morning. 3 a.m. gotta get up. And a gentleman that we had given the product to, his name's Mark Grimes, he just come out here and flown out to Florida and visited and tried it, called and followed up and said, hey, we have the product, I tried it, and I didn't have to get up in the morning and go to the bathroom. I didn't have to, and I didn't have the pain that wakes me up. The neuropathy that you're going to get from the inflammation.
Does it help with BPH?
I'm sorry?
He had BPH? His prostate was enlarged, is that why he was having to get up?
Well, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what.
So you can't say a word on BPH?
No, I cannot say, but I mean, just I was under the impression that people that have diabetes urinate more frequently.
Oh, okay.
And I think it has to do with probably wanting to expel the certain levels in the body. So, and I'm not a physician on that, so I can't speak for it. Yes, and, oh no, I'm sorry, I missed this gentleman.
What does Big Pharma think of your product?
Big Pharma has embraced it fully. Big Pharma has filed for an introductory drug approval on CBD. This is not good news for me. This is not good news for anybody, because right now you can see this product will cost you thousands of dollars in the future. But yeah, Big Pharma has filed for an introductory drug approval. We expect within 1.5 years they're going to be out of their trials, and they're going to say this is a medical product and this has medical benefits. Now, there's one thing that we have. We are not a medical product. We're a supplement. We're a food-based product. We are the fact that it is a registered food item as per the FDA because it tests with less than the levels of THC in the related product. And because we do that and we look at it in a certain way from our legal team, we will be able to continue in the market. And that's what we believe. But again, it's not good news, folks, but it may be good news because you'll be able to eventually get it subsidized. You'll be able to get it through your insurance. I mean, again, in medical marijuana in Canada, you can get it right now for $30 an ounce and it's subsidized through the government. So, I mean, it's not saying it's a bad thing, but unfortunately, the CBD they're developing is also a synthetic version. And you can't patent the plant, we all know that. You can patent the seeds from Monsanto, but you can't patent the plant. So, when it comes down to
synthetic CBD?
because you can't patent, you have to come up with and so there's been some real.
So it would be atomically exact.
It would not be natural. It would not be natural. And they had some real issues in their trials, in the first trials. Like literally in the first trials, they had some people that died messing with the endocannabinoid system, and literally 7 people died, and out of 13 people had serious issues while trying to do this synthetic version. So again, there are 2 synthetic versions of THC out on the market, drogatinol and emimarinol, and they have little to no effects in the medical marijuana community.
So when you're reading the article, you've got to figure out whether it's natural CBD or synthesized CBD.
Sure. Yeah, at this point, it's going to really come down to, if anything, it's going to come down to the consumer educating yourself. And this kind of goes back, when I developed the product source, it was about knowing your source. I was a chef for 15 years. I mean, I really want to understand where I get food products. I really want to understand what I'm ingesting. And I also worked in the community for many, many years. And it was all about knowing your source, where your products come from. Is it organic? Do you know the person that grew it? Do you know the person that actually grew this? So yeah, so when it comes down to it, that's 1% of anything you get. You know where it came from. So when it came down to it, knowing your source, where you get your products from, that was kind of where we developed it. And that was kind of my whole philosophy on developing the product. Okay, sorry, yes, ma'am, yes.
I have some leave guys, wonder if I could grab her both.
Oh, yes, of course. Please, yes. Take one of those two cards up.
Me too.
Yeah, oh, yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. Okay, we have, no, please, thank you so much.
I'm sorry.
No apologies, that's good, yeah, it's all good. As long as everybody got the answer to the question, yes.